What's shaking, world? Minasan konnichiwa. Welcome to the Layup Line with Nick Fazekas and John Ramey. I'm Ramey, and thank God for college basketball. Baseball gave us a World Series for the ages, but we all woke up the next morning with the clock set back 1 hour and the inescapable knowledge that darkness and cold will rule our days for the following several months. The college football playoff rankings have some upstarts and some unusual entries, but most of the top-ranked teams in line for the postseason resemble the S&P 500 of college athletics. Now, here on the Layup Line, we root hard for the S&P 500 every day, but let's not pretend like it's inspiring. What about the NFL? What about the NBA? Well, the defining experience of being a fan of both of those leagues is the convenience of the hype machine. We don't have to worry about our thoughts and feelings regarding the NFL or the NBA. Those leagues simply give them to us. No, it's college basketball with its inherent madness, now extending well beyond March, with its swirl of roster upheavals and its Hawaii Pacific over Boise State, that is truly worthy of our affection. And the Nevada Wolfpack has made a play for our hearts in their opener. A blowout win over Louisiana Tech has given us a glimpse of the possible for the silver and blue. We'll talk about that with Nick Fazekas, and we'll chop it up with the greatest shortstop in the history of the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Crawford. It's the Layup Line.
The following segment is sponsored by Bradley, Drendel, and Janae.
It's the Layup Line. Nick Fazekas, John Ramey, and Nevada basketball is into the win column on opening night, 77-50, a dominant performance over Louisiana Tech. They burst over the first vault. Can't win them all if you don't win the first one, Nick. Your big three takeaways from game one.
Big three takeaways was definitely the intensity that they played with. It just feels like it's a different cast of guys. It's a different cast of players. And, John, I just believe that there's a lot more toughness in this group. And then I think the next big thing is to take away that I believe this team gets better and more efficient offensively. I think last night was 77 points, which is a good outing, right, in a college basketball game. And I don't think you can be upset with 77, but I think that 77 could have been more like 85. And I just think it was a really, really good game. A lot of people talked about how Coach Alford was really happy with that group after. And then I think another big takeaway is just all the new faces, right? I mean, this is the transfer portal. This is the NIL where everyone's got new faces, new rosters. And I think those are my big three. But this Pac team, I mean, they look like they got a chance to be really, really good and kind of have a special season this season.
I totally agree with you on the intensity being a big factor. There was something about the way Nevada pressed nearly for the entire game. Assistant coach Mike Furlong talked about it with us on the post-game show. He said, they started it with the overseas trip in the Bahamas. And, what a basketball team's personality can be and how important that is for how successful they are. What does it mean if Nevada has the kind of roster that is just going to press for 40 minutes or real close to it?
I mean, you're going to show up and you're going to be like, we got to deal with this for 40 minutes and we've got to deal with these, these dogs for 40 minutes. And I mean, we talked about it last night on the broadcast where it just felt like it was a nuisance for the whole time. And it was just kind of like that wearing down and wear and tear to get to where La Tech was just frustrated, and we saw that kind of a little bit in the second half where guys were dribbling the ball off their feet and sorts of things like that. So I like that identity. I think that's a great identity for the roster that Coach Alford and that staff has put together. I think it's a great identity for them to kind of build on and get this momentum, and maybe we start to see a little bit more of a more gambly press, I should say, to where we can get more steals and kind of even speed the game up even faster.
I mean, we were not, 10 minutes into the broadcast, and I was already dropping cliches like defense leads to offense. But it's true, especially when you get those live ball turnovers. And that's an exciting brand of basketball. There were 7,444 on hand at Lawler last night for the opener. And I do think that it's, when a team goes all out for 40 minutes, especially with this fan base, that it's going to resonate with them. And you just got that vibe right away. Now, this is not 30 games. You can't extrapolate, 30, 35 games. But let's talk about another individual performance. Chuck Bailey, the third, goes for 24 points. Now, he had a career high at Evansville of 27, but we did not see that kind of offense from him last year in his first season with Nevada. But we did see athleticism. And so what's so exciting for me, and I think for you as well, with Chuck Bailey exploding for 24 to lead all scorers in the opener, is that you've got a guy with like next level athleticism and the skill to collect 24 points. Those two things, when they work together, become a real problem for every opponent.
100%, John. Couldn't agree more. Chuck has a big frame to him. He's got kind of like almost like an NBA body, is what you would kind of say. And after watching him last night and watching him last season, it just almost felt like two different players. And you love to refer to him as Motown, and that's kind of what he's probably going to live up to that nickname going forward, because it's always more fun to have a nickname as a guy that scores a lot more baskets than a guy that's kind of more like that defensive stopper. So Chuck he's living up to that Motown nickname, and I'm really excited after last night, kind of seeing the energy that he brought. He shot the heck out of it from 3-point, and I just think it's exciting to see that, Chuck Bailey, of all players from the returners that have come back from last season, is the leading scorer in the pack. And you've got so many fresh faces that are good players at their prior, universities and things like that, that there's just a lot of positivity that you can take away from that La Tech game last night.
The biggest splash newcomer was Elijah Price, who was an outstanding freshman at Fresno State last year, led the Mountain West, all Mountain West freshmen in scoring and rebounding a season ago. He finishes in the high single digits, both in scoring and in rebounding for the Wolfpack. He struggled a little bit at the free throw line early and then came on strong. And you and I worked a game in the Mountain West tournament last year where Price was still with Fresno State, a game Nevada won. And we were both very impressed with him then. And I think we're both still pretty excited about him now in the silver and blue.
I think we even sent a text message this summer when we found out that he was coming to the Pack, and how excited we were. So I'm really excited for Elijah. I think Elijah is definitely a guy that can fit into a million different molds. He's kind of like the Swiss Army knife for the Pack. I think that defensively he's going to bring a lot of different intangibles to what they're able to do. You'd love to see him shoot free throws at a little bit better clip than he did at Fresno. And like you said, he did come on late, and I think that's something that he can build on. But as you watch those games, John, last season, and as I watched that game last night, he just has a knack for the basketball, and he's got a motor, he's got that energy where I just don't know if the opponent really likes to see Elijah Price standing in front of him for the next 40 minutes, because it's going to be a dogfight.
How impressive was Louisiana Tech, not in their performance, but in what this win will mean? This is a team that won back-to-back 20-win game, or had won 20 games in back-to-back seasons each of the last 2 years. Conference USA is not a powerhouse, but this team had athletes. And I think, just kind of judging by what we saw last night, once they figure out who they are, they're going to cause some problems. Do you think this opening night win for the Pack might look a little more impressive down the road?
I think so, for sure. La Tech's picked to finish 5th out of 12th in the Conference USA, and it's not a big 5, it's not this, but La Tech's had a lot of success. They've had a lot of great seasons here in the last couple, and so to be 5th, the Pack has finished to do 7th in the Mountain West. Maybe those conferences are a little bit comparable, but I do think that this win looks a little bit more better come March on that resume, when La Tech goes out and wins maybe 18, 19, 20 games that they kind of have been accustomed to doing. So big win last night for the Pack. A lot of positivity, a lot of things to build on, and Coach Alford was really happy. I think you and I were really happy, and I think it's really exciting to see what they can do against Pacific on Saturday. So
the first 3 games are at home, Pacific on Saturday, and then the following week, next week, Nevada back home on the Wednesday on the 12th. What do you want to see as far as trajectory improvement from the team? Because Steve Alford talks about this all the time. The story of a basketball season is about how the team gets better.
And that's what you want to see. I think I kind of touched on it there for a minute, where it's offensively you'd like to see them just take maybe a little bit, some baby steps to get a little bit more efficient, maybe shoot the 3 a little bit better, make some more free throws. I mean, at this point, you're kind of nitpicking after the game that they played last night, but
for real.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's kind of to that point, but you want to see them sustain this energy. You want to continue to see that they're going to be the team that's going to dictate the game. And I think that that's really just something that the Pack looked like they really wanted to do last night with that press and the way that they played defense all night. That's what you want to see on Saturday. That's what you want to see going forward. And I don't know if that quote-unquote gets any better, but you just want to see it be sustained.
All right. That's our Pack chat for this one. But when we come back, we're going to change gears. We're going to visit with a legend Brandon Crawford, world champion, Gold Glover, greatest shortstop in the history of the San Francisco Giants, and Nick Fazekas, his neighbor. So we're going to talk a little baseball and more with Brandon Crawford when we come back on the Layup Line.
The following segment is sponsored by Northern Nevada Toyota Dealers.
Welcome back to the Layup Line. He's Fazekas, I'm Ramey, and our inaugural guest is the greatest shortstop in the history of the San Francisco Giants. We caught up with Brandon Crawford. What's the biggest thing that's different about a World Series game to any other baseball game you've played in? Because you've been in the postseason, you were in the postseason with UCLA, you're in a super regional. Like, what's different about the World Series, even to like the LCS or any other postseason?
I think that just the fact that you're working all off season, all spring training, 6 months during the season just to get to that point. That's the goal for each team coming into spring training every year is to go win a World Series. So I think once you finally get there to that, peak of your sport, it's awesome to be there and you're doing whatever you can to win. Like what Yamamoto did after throwing almost 100 pitches, game 6, coming out the next night and closing it out for the Dodgers. As much as I hate to see the Dodgers win, that was unbelievably impressive to come out, the day after throwing almost 100 pitches. Nobody does that. So, like I said, you just kind of do whatever you can to win the game, and that's what we saw out of the Dodgers.
Here's kind of a fun question, Brandon. I kind of have thought about as you're kind of answering it, and it kind of goes back to like the Scotty Scheffler when he kind of talked about how they work, or he works, and then he wins the tournament, and then you kind of just go back the next day and you just work and work again, right? Like I'm sure you saw that quote. When you won it, because obviously you won it at the biggest and baddest level, right? You win the World Series, and like when you win it, do you kind of almost like you're happy for that moment, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, like I'm just like gonna rest, I'm just gonna relax. Like, obviously there's the parade and everything like that, but I wondered, like, do you kind of have that same kind of notion where you're like, well, dude, we won it, but now it's just kind of right back to the grindstone. It's back to the next off season. Let's get ready to try to like go repeat or go do it again.
Not so much as golf, because I feel like they're playing every weekend. So at least for baseball, you get to enjoy it for, I don't know, maybe a month. Is usually what I would take. After we won the World Series, I'd take maybe like a month off, a few weeks off, and then, get back to it, like you said, to start working out again and looking forward to the next season.
Yeah. Well, so Brandon, I kind of wanted to ask you too, just kind of keep it a little bit fun, keep it, so now we know you're retired. I see you at Pickup, I see you at this, and, I know we're part of the same fantasy football league. We've already made 2 trades with each other, and we didn't meet each other long ago, but maybe you can talk about now, like what, you are doing now. What are your interests? What are you doing? I was talking to John a little bit about, I know that you're involved in a million different fantasy football leagues and how you kind of occupy your time. We all know you got 5 kids that definitely do occupy your time, but I don't know. What are you doing now that kind of keeps you, maybe motivated, or what are you, what are you doing these days?
Well, it's only 4 fantasy leagues to start with. Ours, I think, being my most important one, the one I care most about. But other than that, yeah, we have 5 kids, so ages ranging from 12 to 2. So the 2-year-old obviously keeps us busy during the day. Just between going to work out and then coming home and spending time with her, doing stuff around the house. Then it's Pickup and taking the other 4 to their sports. And there's something every day, at least a practice or a game or something every day that we're taking them to. Helping coach our flag football team. We have our 11-year-old girl and 9-year-old boy are on the same flag football team. And I'm like our offensive coordinator for that. So it's been a lot of fun drawing up plays and doing all that for them.
Brandon, that's awesome. I have one more question. There's a picture, we'll find it. I saw it on Twitter because I follow Will Clark on Twitter, like every red-blooded American should. And there's a picture of Will Clark, I think, holding you as like a tiny kid. And I'm like, how did you get Will Clark to hold you and get a photograph? Like, were you tight with the thrill as an infant or something?
We tried to recreate that picture actually years later, and didn't. I'm just kidding. We didn't. That would be way too heavy for him. No, it's just a Giants fan and my dad having season tickets. I can't remember exactly what that was.
Yeah.
My dad could definitely tell you, but it was maybe some sort of like fan fest or something like that, where fans were able to get down on the field and take pictures of players. And I mean, I was probably not even a year old, maybe a year old when that picture was taken. But yeah, there's a handful of pictures that are pretty cool to look at. Now after spending so many years with the Giants. Between the one at Candlestick where I'm 5 years old, where apparently you were at that game also.
Yeah.
And then the one with Will Clark, I have one with Mike Krukow that's signed. He wrote like to Brandon, future Giant or something like that, signed Mike Krukow. Stuff like that where it's really cool to look at now.
All right, he's San Francisco Giants legend, Gold Glover, world champion, Brandon Crawford. Brandon, thanks for the time, and really appreciate it. Coming up next, Fazekas and I are going to run the fast break. Stay with us.
The following segment is sponsored by Nevada Department of Wildlife.
Fazekas and Ramey, and now on the layup line, we're going to run the fast break. And let's start with the Japanese phrase of the week. Nick, you speak Japanese, you played in Japan, you represented Japan in international competition. What is our Japanese phrase of the week?
Japanese phrase of the week is a fun one, John. It's something that I kind of wish almost translated into English, or kind of something that we have in America. The word is daijōbu. And John, what it means, or what it kind of means, is it's a very broad meaning. It can mean, yeah, that's cool. It can also almost mean like thank you. It can also mean like I'm good. It can, you can almost shut the door or open the door for somebody. I mean, daijōbu, daijōbu. So that was one of the words that I really fell in love with, or kind of phrases that I fell in love with, that it very much, you got past the konnichiwas and the arigatos and those, and then when you got the daijōbu, it was like, oh, this guy's actually trying to pay attention and learn this language.
Which you clearly did. Can you say daijōbu to your elders? Is it polite or is it informal?
It's completely good to say to elders. It's completely, so it's not anywhere.
So useful.
It's very useful. It's definitely not one of those words that you have to worry about. Is this person an elder? Is this person maybe superior, or whatever it may be? So daijōbu works pretty much any way, shape, or form, no matter age, gender, or anything like that.
Daijōbu. Because of Nick's skill in the Japanese language and your fans in Japan, we will be exploring the Japanese language every week. So this will be a recurring feature on the layup line. A news item from page 6, where all the best news is. The report says Tom Brady cloned his dog. Do you have thoughts on this? I have thoughts on this.
John, I would love to hear your thoughts. I've always felt like cloning something almost felt like it was sci-fi. I didn't even, you know what I mean? Like, you hear about it, and I've always questioned, like, can you actually do this? But I guess Tom Brady, and when you win that many Super Bowl rings and you got that much money, I guess you can clone dogs.
So apparently they had a beloved dog that passed away, and they love this dog so much, they cloned it. Now, I think we're long overdue for a cultural conversation about pets in this country, and I say that as somebody who grew up with dogs. I have a sister-in-law who's a veterinary professional. I myself am a pet dad, cat dad. I don't know if you should clone a dog. I think you should adopt a dog. Mr. Brady, you can do what you want with your life, but I think, I don't know, there are dogs out there that need homes. And if dogs are part of your family and that's your rationale, well, you would never clone a human. That would be grossly unethical.
Grossly unethical.
Right? So if your dog is like a member of your family, you can't clone it. And if your dog is a pet, you can just get a dog. Am I missing? Am I out of line here? I know I'm getting out of my lane.
I don't think you're out of your lane. I do think it would be like, hey, yeah, so Stevie passed away, but we got Stevie 2.0 here because we cloned him. Like, yeah, it's the kind of the same thing with the dog. And I'm a dog lover. I've got 2 kids that are beating down my door to get a new dog, or they want to get a dog. And
we love dogs. Where are my dogs at?
We do love our dogs, and I do love pets, but I think that's the exhilaration and the fun, right? I mean, it's the saddest thing in the world. The pet ends up becoming part of your family, passes away. It is definitely a mourning period. It's very sad. It kind of takes some time. But then there is that excitement of getting that next dog and kind of getting to know that dog and the personality. And now you just went from one deceased dog to the next dog. It's weird. It's really weird.
For an icon of sport like Tom Brady, it seems incongruently not sporting.
Not sporty at all.
I don't want to criticize Tom Brady too much. Hawaii Pacific, a lower division team, beat Boise State in Boise in their opener. Did you ever experience a loss to a lower division team?
Believe it or not, I can't actually remember, but we lost to a Division II in an exhibition game.
Exhibition.
It was exhibition, and that was a very, very big wake-up call. That was actually the Sweet 16 team my freshman year.
No way.
They had two really, really good players, and I remember Coach Johnson was not happy after that. But it was an exhibition. It didn't go on the record, and it was kind of very much a wake-up call for that team. But, yeah, to have to throw that on the record for Boise, good news for the Pack.
I mean, I don't think it impacts their net if it's not in your same division, but it is a loss to, I believe, a Division II Hawaii Pacific team. But great win for Hawaii Pacific. I think it was 79-78. So college basketball is back. And, you know, people say sometimes the sport gets overshadowed in the regular season, and I suppose it does in a media sense. But, look, the season is on, and it's so much fun. And right away, we've got so many things to talk about. And that is our first layup line. He's Fazekas. I'm Ramey. We'll see you next time. Peace.